Hello everyone, I am Sayukta Saxena back again. So in today's session we'll be learning another Zentangle original. I had posted a teaser on my Facebook page if you had a chance to have a look. Had also posted few string ideas regarding the pattern squid, right? So we will be learning the pattern squid today. Again, a very organic pattern, a very nature inspired pattern. Actually it looks somewhat like the underwater creature squid, in case you know or have seen it or have seen pictures. So looks somewhat inspired from that. So let us start right away. Okay, so we will learn to draw the pattern squid today. So this is my scrapbook and I'm going to start right away. So squid starts with a couple of Bronx shear in the center, right? So what I am doing is drawing a bunch of these raspberry or black grape kind of shapes, orbs, filling it in and leaving a small gap in between, right? And also a light strand of white. If you've already learned how to draw this pattern, you can refer to my earlier videos, right? And then what I'm going to draw is a series of these curved lines, double lines. You can call it tentacles or you can call it leaf-like shapes, or I don't know, anything that you feel it looks like. Generally in the original creature squid there are two tentacles, so it looks like them, right? So I have given them a curve. You can also choose to draw them straight, something like this, right? But it is easier to cross these curved lines, and hence I prefer drawing them, curvy. So I'm just freehand, not thinking much, drawing these double lines looking like leaves or something, whatever you imagine them to be, right? So this is the basic pattern squid, right? You can draw it any ways you want, just random, not thinking much how, where, right? Looks good if you try and cross them. So even if you want to keep it straight, it's okay, right? So that's the basic pattern squid. Now how do you generally you also add some of these simple orbs surrounding it close to the Bronx shear. It is a part of the basic pattern, right? Looks nice. So these smaller orbs, a mix of small and big orbs to go with the Bronx shear, emanating from the center, right? Something like these is a part of the basic pattern squid. Right? So how do you generally add a variation to it? You can play with these leaf kind of shapes that you have drawn. So if I have drawn a simple shape like this, I can add a bolder line inside, right? Something like this. So it gives a different look. Something like this, right? Or what I can do is I can add some orbs, small puffs on one side or on both sides, right? You can add to these in many ways. You can add orbs inside it to create a variation like this, right? You can add something like this, small curves, right? So there are n number of ways in which you can create a variation once you start drawing. So how do we generally shade a squid? We generally shade it around these orbs or small tipple that we have drawn, right? You generally add some graphite around this and then smudge it, right? That's the most general way to shade the squid, right? The other way is to highlight these leaf or tentacles, add some weight on one side so they get highlighted, right? Something like this, right? A shade at the beginning of the or at the end, for example, adding some here and some here, so it looks nice, right? You can also add some shade on one side, something like this, so it looks like a shadow, something like this, right? So there are so many ways in which you can go about doing it. So let's draw a tile today using this pattern and a couple of more and see how our squid turns out to be. I'll also show you few tiles which I have made using the string ideas that I posted on my Facebook page, right? So this is a simple string, right? Kind of if you know the pattern verb, then the pattern verb starts like this, or you can just see that it is a orb and then two curves, an inverted 9 kind of a thing, right? A simple string. So now we will first draw the pattern squid. So I'm using this orb to start with my pattern, right? So I'm going to be starting my squid from here. So adding these Bronx chairs, right, in the center, and then I'm going to be starting to draw these leaf kind of shape or tentacles coming out, emanating from this, right, in all directions. Then going to cross them. They look nice, right? Again, drawing behind an integral part of the method, right? Again, going to cross it, right? Again, going to cross it. So you don't really have to think much how you have to draw these leaves or tentacle kind of shapes, right? Just randomly. You can also draw some straight ones if you wish, right? So just go with the flow. Add a few here. Right? So now what we can do is add some weight on one side, right? So I'm picking one of the side and retracing the line, adding some weight, right? So the line gets some prominence, like this, like this, like this, right? So it's a pretty simple technique, but really the tangle pops up, starts to show, right? So I'm just adding some weight on one side of these lines that I have drew. Right? And then some orbs, small and big ones, close to the center. Right? In the gaps that you find. Something like tipple. Right? Right? So that's about it. I'm not going to add any more. Now the rest of the space, it is totally up to you what you want to do, how you want to go about it, right? So let us start with a small diva dance rock and roll in the center, right? And we'll see what do we want to do with the rest of our tile. And starting with diva dance in the center of the other section. So we have already learned how to draw this pattern. I had a series on this. If you want to have a look, do have a look at the videos. Right. So I'm just adding aura and some of these humps or bumps, whatever you want to call them, along with the aura. Right. Again adding the aura, coming back, adding these humps, again aura, again coming back, adding these humps, so auraing is a very important part of this pattern. The closely you aura, the better the tangle looks. And auraing is otherwise a very important part of the Zentangle method. So I'm going to leave it here, not add any more auras. Just cover up the humps that I've already made. Right. And then probably add one more pattern. So I'm going to add crescent moon, but what I'm going to do here is draw full moons first, right? So just a nice variation, some circles or orbs. So I'm starting with the full moon, and then probably I'll move on to crescent moon, right? Just keeping it simple. Right, and some along the border also, since we have a lot of space here. If you wish, you can color the entire thing, entirely up to you. I may afterwards if I feel like, right? Currently I'll go with leaving a small gap inside. Right, so I have drawn this series of circles here, and now I'm going to start auraing it just like crescent moon. So I'm starting to add auras now, just like we do in crescent moon, just that we have started with full moons here. A nice variation. So just repeating the shape already drawn, adding the aura around these circles, right? So keep rotating your tile, make sure your hands are comfortable. Take deep breaths and enjoy each stroke. Right? So just adding the first line of aura to my orbs or full moons or circles, whatever you wish to call it. Right? Now we move on to the second line. Right, so it's always good to come this way so that you can see the shape that you are tracing, right? Although there is no hard and fast rule, but when you are tracing a shape or you are auraing or adding another line, you should be able to see the line that you are tracing, right? Right, so I'm going to do this exercise a couple of times. So I continued to aura, and I've reached a point where these auras are touching each other, right? So all the orbs have been auraed and these auras are touching each other. Now what we can do is now add the half moons or the crescent moons, a second layer where we find spaces, right? like this. So I'm just adding some crescent moon shapes in these crossings that I got by auraing the orbs or the full moons, right? So take your time, find those spaces and just turn them black. Right? So I think we covered all. You can add one small one here. Right? And now I'm going to repeat the same exercise. Again start adding auras. Right? So just start from one side, start adding auras, keep rotating your tile, so again I am sort of going up to a point where the auras start to touch each other.